For the first part of the manual, let me give you a brief introduction about Car-Ma-Ri-Ven and why we chose to design this scale. This part provides the process that the Car-Ma-Ri-Ven inferiority complex scale undergoes to prove the psychometric properties which are vital in developing a psychological test. In today's modern world, entertainment evolved from watching live performances, movie theaters, and television screens. Now, entertainment has evolved through social media. Young adults in this generation grew up with the evolution of social media, and because of this, it became a part of their life. It also means that it affects their behaviors and lifestyles. According to a study in 2017, inferiority behaviors of young adults are common to those who use social media on a daily basis. Inferior tendencies show up in different ways and are caused by different triggers. A person might show inferior behaviors in a positive or negative manner depending on how they deal with the trigger. Watching vlogs on YouTube has become a norm to young adults nowadays. It is a platform where people from different countries of all ages put their video content. Through the years, young adults look up on social media personalities, or most known as influencers, in terms of having a successful career and lifestyle. This affects one's perception in life, resulting in having inferiority complex behaviors. The Car-Ma-Ri-Ven Inferiority Complex Scale is a questionnaire established by us researchers that contains questions that will measure inferior behaviors acquired from watching lifestyle vlogs on YouTube. Inferior tendencies of young adults are the possible results of watching vlogs on YouTube that leads them to compare their life. The respondent is given a 5-point Likert scale to allow them to express themselves with a particular statement on each item. The chosen respondents for Car-Ma-Ri-Ven includes 100 young adults whose age ranging from 18 to 28 years old. Young adults were the chosen respondents for the assessment tool since this age group is prior to inferior behaviors when watching lifestyle vlogs on YouTube, as they are able to fully express and answer the test with a more accurate response due to their age and experience in life.
This part of the manual distributes the different psychometric properties of the Car-Ma-Ri-Ven Inferiority Complex Scale. Psychometric properties are characteristics of tests and other measures of human characteristics which identify and describe attributes of an instrument, namely validity, norming, reliability, and utilization. The Car-Ma-Ri-Ven Inferiority Complex Scale underwent the process of construct validity wherein several validators examined the capability of the Car-Ma-Ri-Ven Inferiority Complex Scale to measure what it purports to measure. The test designers used Cronbach's alpha upon measuring the relation of the variables with one another. To compute the Cronbach's alpha of the test measure, ANOVA 2 factor without replication to show the measure of rows and errors. As you can see on the table, it shows that the computation for measure of validity using the ANOVA 2 factor without replication and Cronbach's alpha, the result of Cronbach's alpha is 0.82, which indicates the correlation coefficient of the variables of Car-Ma-Ri-Ven Inferiority Complex Scale is good. To predict the consistency of the tool, it underwent reliability testing whereas 100 participants took the Car-Ma-Ri-Ven Inferiority Complex Scale. Measure of reliability includes reliability testing for each facet: insecurity, validation seeking, sensitivity to criticism, trash talking, social withdrawal, and mood swings. To evaluate the consistency of the items according to their dimensions, the formulas used to measure the reliability of the Car-Ma-Ri-Ven Inferiority Complex Scale are Person-R test and Spearman-Brown correlation.
Test administration. It is necessary for the participants to understand the intent and the reason why they are using a particular evaluation tool. Clarification of the test protocol is necessary for the participants to give them the freedom to decide whether to take the test or not. It must be done before giving their consent to take part in research. Participants would usually want to know the outcomes of the assessment method and who else will have access to their files. The Car-Ma-Ri-Ven Inferiority Complex Scale could only adequately administered in a personal setting to properly discuss the purpose of the evaluation and arrange the files as properly as possible. Upon administrating the Car-Ma-Ri-Ven Inferiority Complex Scale, the facilitator should provide and explain the test instructions clearly on the participants. Every detail must be delivered to the respondents to avoid breaching necessary protocols inside and during the testing proper. The Car-Ma-Ri-Ven Inferiority Complex Scale must be conducted in a proper testing hall. It must be a protocol to test them separately in a testing room which is far from an exposed area in respect for anonymity of the participants. Facilitators have great responsibility for the welfare of the participants. Facilitator must be knowledgeable of the protocols that must be followed to avoid bypassing and discriminating the participant.
For scopes and dimension, the age of the respondents is an important characteristic in understanding their views about the problem. By and large, age indicates the level of maturity of individuals in that sense. Age becomes more important to examine the response. And lastly, the inclusion of sex as an important variable in the psychological assessment tool helps the researchers gather more specific data in relative to which among the two sex differents experience the problem. Here are the test scores that vary from the 6 facets, which are Facet 1, Insecurity, Facet 2, Validation Seeking, Facet 3, Sensitive to Criticism, Facet 4, Trash Talking, Facet 5, Social Withdrawal, and Facet 6, Mood Swings. Lastly, for the assessment tools discussion, the researchers have learned that there are instances that the respondents have the tendency to withdraw themselves socially when they feel inferior, though the respondents are not heavily influenced by their inferiors, thus they still manage to interact with other people. The average score of 100 respondents who participated on the assessment tool is 2.9703. Findings suggest that young adults who watch lifestyle vlogs on YouTube are displaying evidence of inferiority complex at some point of their lives. The results show that young adults are most likely to feel social withdrawal when feeling inferior. Most of the participants are average scorers, which imply that they are sometimes avoidant with other people or somehow loses interest with the things they enjoy. The results of the assessment tool define how likely the subjects possess inferiority behaviors depending on the situation that they are in and how people perceive them. Inferiority complex has an impact on the respondents that affects their behavior, mental health, and relationships. But it also plays an important role to fight their insecurities and address them. Instead of keeping their feelings of inferiority to themselves or projecting it to others, they chose to acknowledge and address their internal conflicts. However, there are still instances that they sometimes socially withdraw themselves to people since they feel inferior to others or the situation they are in.